cuffs are off, man. Get right, too many left in these leagues, but I ain't gon'.
Hey everybody, Adam Rank here.
What's up everybody? It's Marcus Grant from NFL Network.
This is AJ Dillon of the Green Bay Packers.
I got to give a shout out to y'all at Get Right Fantasy.
If you are not subscribed, what are you waiting for? You want to lose your league?
Check out the Get Right Fantasy Network.
You got to get right with the Get Right Fantasy Network.
Best of luck with your podcast. Appreciate the support.
And you're tuned in to watch my boys at Get Right Fantasy Network. Get you right. Enjoy the show.
Marking nothing, but I tune every Friday. Strategies provided, I will lock in every way. So go and roll your sleeves up, yeah. Go and roll your sleeves up. And I'm getting down, cause I roll my sleeves up. And I'm getting right, cause I roll my sleeves up.
What up? What up? What up, world? We are back. I'm Anthony, aka Rasta. This is Get Right Fantasy Network. We're here. Week 11 is done, heading into week 12. Happy Thanksgiving to everybody out there. Got my boy here, Fishing Frank, in the house. Frank the champ. How's it going, Frank, man? How was your week 11, man? How'd it treat you?
Pretty good. Actually, I got mostly wins. I just actually looked at one, and it was a 2-point loss, which was a little rough, but that's okay. That's okay.
That's all right.
The majority of it's wins, even with that one added in there. It was a good week, man. Hey, yeah, we're going right into Thanksgiving here, man. Shoot, can't wait.
For sure. Thanksgiving. I got my birthday coming up next week. I know your birthday just passed. Classic Mike's birthday is coming up too. So got a lot of stuff going on here. We're excited. Tis the holiday season, man. We're all rolling in. So wishing everybody safe and happy holidays as we get to the season here. And this is our Monday Overreaction show. So for those of you guys new to us here, tonight's the night where you come gloat, let us know how your fantasy teams did. We want to hear about it. You know, we know all the people, probably in your close proximity to you don't want to hear anything about your fantasy team. Obviously, your league mates probably have heard you talking mess all week, or maybe they're talking mess to you. So this is where you can come, get it off your chest, let's overreact, get it out of there, and start focusing in by the end of the show here to week 12, and hopefully rolling on into your fantasy playoffs here, man. So we have 3 more weeks left of the regular season, so hopefully you're making that playoff push if you guys have been here watching us. And then, there's been a lot of devastating injuries. I know I got clipped by a ton of them this week with Joe Burrow going down Thursday, just kind of setting the mood right away. So that one's tough, man. But, and a couple other ones here, nothing too crazy serious, I guess, besides Burrow, but we'll get into those. Your news and notes. We're going to do our top performers, give out our game balls like we do every Monday. And then, of course, get into our waiver wire ads here this week for your waivers and your fab runs. So Wednesdays, you and I will be back here doing our roster management show, buy, sell, trade. Some of the trade deadlines have maybe passed last week. I know I have a couple coming up here this week, and even some people go to week 13. So we'll be here for another couple weeks talking roster management. And then we're also going to do our 1,000 subscriber ring giveaway there too, which we'll get into here in a second. And then on Fridays, we do our game by game start sit show where we take your live Q&A questions, of course, all the time. So if you do have questions, make sure you guys drop those in the chat. We try to get to all of them there. And then Classics back here on Sunday morning for any start sit questions that we can't answer on Fridays. We want to get to those on Sunday morning when we have those actives and inactive lists. To get your lineups right before kickoff on Sunday. If you guys are watching this later on, not live, just make sure you go in the description and check out the timestamps in the different chapters. So maybe you don't want to hear us blabbering or answering other people's Q&A questions. You can get right to the waiver ads or game balls or whatever section you want to listen to on your way to work. So either way, we appreciate you supporting the channel here. Make sure you hit that subscribe button again if you are new to us. And if you're already subscribed, hit that like button, man. Helps us out just as much. Helps that algorithm grow so we can get out there and not be the best kept fantasy secret. We want to definitely get those in. I did pin in the chat here for those that are here a link to that 1,000 subscriber video. So make sure you guys go check out this video, follow the link, leave your comment in the comment section there, and we will be giving away that ring on Wednesday. So just a couple more days left. Yeah.
A couple more days. Yeah.
So if you want this custom made ring from our boys over at TrophySmack.com, our 1,000 subscriber ring, it's going to be awesome, man, to give it out. I wish I could have it. I might just get one for memorabilia's sake, just for us here, just for myself personally, as a little, kind of milestone here for the channel. But either way, man, it's going to be awesome. Can't wait to give this thing out to one of our awesome subscribers here that have been watching us. So there you go. I'll kind of turn it over to to you, Frank. Why don't you tell our people here a little more of what we got going on with TrophySmack.com?
Well, Trophy Smack is the premier source for anything that has to do with fantasy football relations championships, and even for the losers as well. But mostly they carry a lot of rings, like we just showed you, the belts that are available, trophies here, and even just like the Kirk Cousins change for the swag and getting out there. But everything's customizable, as you can see. You can just put in whatever logos or text that you want on there. So for your fantasy winners, I actually was just talking to a guy the other day about it, and I sold him on it. Like, I literally gave him a promo code and everything. He was happened to be a fantasy football player as well. I was telling him, our show and whatnot. Got him a new subscriber, and I told him about Trophy Specs. So you guys, I just kind of asked him, "So you guys got a belt, trophy? What do you guys get for the winner?" He's like, "Well, we did get $100."
Did you flash your belt on him and be like, "Hey, check this out"? Okay.
About that is that I need to go out with more, take it out more, but whatever.
Oh, because you're losing it this year. You ain't gonna have it, so you better wear that thing out, man.
You guys are like smoking crack with that.
Oh man,
I'm right there.
It ain't gonna stay with you too long. Yeah,
I'm right where I want to be, man.
Right behind me. Right behind me. That's where got you where I want you. Right.
First is never won. So
there's always a first for everything. Oh man, no, that's cool. So use that promo code Get Right when you guys go check out TrophySmack.com, man. See, because you get to have this kind of banter. You can't do that if you don't have a belt to fight over, right? Like half the battle is just being able to have that belt, being called the champ, man. Or the trophy, or the chain, or the ring, man. So go check it out.
So I think he's gonna go with the ring, because I think the situation with a lot of people is they start off a league and everybody's close by. Then as time goes on, people move out of state to different areas, different cities, and it's hard to have everybody together. So at least this way, I said, hey, look, just add it to the league dues. Throw a tack on like $7 extra. We did that in our league.
This ring is $7 extra, fully customized on a 12-person league. Just $7 additional to your buy-in.
That's nothing, you know what I mean? And then everybody can get a ring every year, And then if you like win multiple championships, you could be out here like Brady, multi-ring in it or something. You know what I mean?
I can't wait.
The next thing, that's gonna be the next thing. We'll have the belt with the ring like this, holding the belt up. I'll be like, my arm's too heavy,
right? Yep, and we have the ring. Yep. And we have the ring for the new league. We started our League of Extraordinary Gentlemen.
Exactly.
So there's going to be a ring for that one that we're going to start this year. So that's going to be a lot of fun, man. I can't wait to hopefully get that thing on my finger here at the end of the year. So TrophySmack.com.
I'm doing all right over there, too, man. Shoot.
Yeah, no, you're ahead of me on that one. I'm right in there. I need Justin Jefferson to come back and play well. That one's hurt me there. So there it is, man. So let's get to the chat, man. We can do it with all the people here that come out and support us, man. We got the chat already blowing up. Again, we're taking your live Q&As at all times, so make sure you guys drop it in there. We got Drunk Squidward in the house. What's up, Squidward? How's it going, man? He said he wants to give a thanks to Swift for winning him his week. So again, this is where you give your shout outs. Let us know how your team did, your close, narrow wins or losses. We want to hear about them. He said he could have won more comfortably, but of course he sat Calvin Ridley. He obviously, popped off right when everyone's starting to sit him. And he said he did play him in another league in case he did do something. So that's why it's nice to kind of diversify sometimes and have your multiple leagues to, start some guys here or there, depending on how things are going.
I wouldn't feel bad about that. I want to put a note on there because I had a couple guys, and, feel like everybody else, especially this late in the season, you've been riding the guy, and he hasn't been producing. You finally bench him, and he finally, has a decent game. And
sometimes that's what you just need to do. Kind of reset the shift of the fantasy gods.
As long as you get the win in, even if you get the loss, it's like, sometimes you have to bench the guy before he starts straightening it out. You know what I mean?
For sure. Got our boy Ron in here. Yeah, got our boy Ron in here saying what's up, calling us out for being late, of course. We got Squidward, like you're saying what's going on with the studs, like Eckler, Diggs, AJ Brown. They all dudded this week. It happens, man. It's part of it. We got our boy in here, Warrior Law, saying what's up, guys. He's saying happy early Thanksgiving. So right back to you as well. And look at Smokey the Cat in the house saying
it right, man. That's what's up.
There it is. Always hitting that @ get right in there. That's how we know to get your one of your comments here first. If you have your questions, hit that @ get right at Rasta at Frank, something like that to get our attention. But we want you guys talking it up in the chat there. He says 2 more days until he's getting that ring. So there you go. So let's see. Got Ron and Smokey saying what's up to each other there. And so there we go. So we'll let the chat get going here. Let's just get to this Monday night football recap, man. Was going to be kind of game of the week. Everyone was excited for it. Eagles at Chiefs. Chiefs came in favored by 3 with a 46-point over-under. Oh, yeah, let's hit that banner in there. So it helps me out with those timestamps later. So, yeah, we'll reset that here. So we got Eagles 21, Chiefs 17. Chiefs were favored by 3, 46-point over-under. Thought it was going to come in and be, big-time game. Instead, it became like a defensive battle. We thought these offenses were going to come out. We know they both have great defenses as well. Obviously, the Super Bowl rematch. Eagles get some get back here. A little too late. Obviously, they can't go back and switch what happened last year. But it's nice to come back and play the team again and actually win kind of in the fashion that they did. We're just persevered, played it out. Again, tried to control the ground game, just very defensive. Had some, plays here and there. And honestly, Chiefs could have won if Marquez Valdez-Scantling wasn't MVS, as we all have grown to know and love him, with his stone hands or butterfingers or whatever you want to call it, dropping that easy touchdown pass. It hit him right in the hands.
Look how many times.
Justin Watson dropped it.
Was dropping like hell about even at the end. He dropped the one where would have got him.
Oh, the 4th down play.
Yes.
Yeah.
It was the last play of the
12
game,
targets. Why is he getting 12 targets? I was going off in our ambassador chat about it.
Dude, I'm going to go add him because 12 targets is 12 targets. I don't care.
Yeah, I don't know what was all with that. I mean, out of 12 targets, he dropped 3 of them, ran wrong routes on like 2 other ones. I mean, they're still just throwing him the ball. I'm like, where's Rashid Rice? Like, where's Kelsey? I mean, they were like had triple coverage on Kelsey. They were trying to take him out of the game. Obviously, he still scored on a well-designed little pick rub there on the goal line. But he wasn't just getting those chunk plays like he normally does, those 20, 25-yarders.
Horrible play calling. Let me throw it to the flat over here. They get smashed. Let me throw it
screen
to the other side instead.
Yeah.
Just run the ball. They finally run the ball. Swift just runs it up their neck. And I was like, that's what you need to be doing a little bit more often instead of these crazy stupid. I don't understand why.
And then they keep rotating in Gainwell. Boston Scott was getting just run Swift. Like I don't know. They're trying to get too cute.
Like, what are you doing? Yeah.
I don't know. They're just getting too cute, man. Sirianni sometimes tries to outcoach himself. I don't know what's going on. I understand the screen game though, because they were trying to, negate that pass rush. Remember early on, Chris Jones back-to-back sacks. Mm-hmm. Obviously, that's why the Chiefs paid that guy to, come in and wreak havoc there. AJ Brown flashed early, and then they kind of corrected the coverage there. That was a great matchup between he and Snead. So they could have hopefully got Smith involved, and a couple other things they could have done. But either way, it was kind of bad play game, and they still came out with the win. So we'll see what happens, man. I can't wait till week 13, Niners Eagles. That's going to be a good match. So I'm excited for it. So anything else you have on this game here?
Drops. I think just the rain probably helped a lot of those.
Slipping through their hands.
Hitting in their guys. I mean, going right through their hands. It wasn't like he was like they were out there like they had to reach for him or whatever, dude. A number of them were right. I mean, they were right there. Like, it don't get no better. You know what I mean? Like, got to catch that ball. But anyways.
For sure. A
lot of drops on that side.
Yeah, it was pretty crazy, man. It was pretty crazy. So anything else you have on that game, or we're on to Cincinnati now? We're moving on. So a good game there. Whenever these high offensive games, we think are coming along, they end up always being defensive games. And the ones we think are going to be defensive games, like Raiders, like what was it, Steelers or Ravens, Cleveland last week.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Ended up being like 30 to 30 something. Yeah, 30 something. Yeah. So it's just the NFL for you, and that's why it's hard to bet on it. So there you go. So let's get over to our boys over here at Underdog Fantasy. You want to tell our people what we got going on over at Underdog? You want me to do that one?
Oh, go ahead. Dude, you're better at that one. I'll do the
All right. I got it. All right. So underdogfantasy.com, man, one of our sponsors here. Let's see. Let's bring that up. We have, for those who don't know, it's a best ball platform. It's kind of their main thing. They do their big preseason tournaments. Like this year was the Best Ball Mania 4, where they had the winner take home $3 million to first place, $2 million to second, $1 million to first. They're making 3 millionaires this year. They also do best ball drafts, kind of DFS style. You can do them weekly. But one of my favorite things, and I know you like doing them too, are those pick'em contests. Let's see, we'll bring that up here. So for the pick'em contests, you basically just pick higher or lower for players' projected rushing or receiving yards, touchdowns, completions. They even have like defensive players where you can pick higher or lower on tackles, sacks, interceptions. Basically, you can get up to 20 times your money. So make sure you guys go check out underdogfantasy.com or go download the app. And use that promo code GetRight when you do. You'll receive a 100% deposit match when you make that first deposit up to $100. So take advantage of that. Also, right now for new customers, when you do sign up using that promo code GetRight, you'll also, in addition to that bonus match, you'll also get a new customer special in the Pick'em. So you can check that out. For this week, it's going to be Christian McCaffrey, higher or lower than half a total yard. So basically, it's kind of like a free pick. To kind of get you started and show you how it's all done. So you could hopefully be on your way to win 20 times your money. So make sure you guys use that promo code GetRight. When you do, go download the app or go to underdogfantasy.com today. All right. So let's wanted to get into some news and notes here.
Sure. Yeah,
Just recap what's kind of happened here throughout the league.
Happening, right?
Absolutely. So first and foremost, just no teams on a bye this week after having 4 teams on a bye last week. So everyone will be playing this week. So going to be some hard start-sit decisions this week. So make sure you guys come back to us Wednesday and Thursday, and we'll check those out for you and help you hopefully get the correct guys in your lineup here. But as far as kind of the news topics, kind of one of the bigger news items out there was the Jets are going to start Tim Boyle this week. They're actually making Zach, they demoted him all the way to 3rd string, which means he might not even be active on game days if he'll even dress. So he's going from being the starter. They gave him 11 weeks to kind of check it out. They brought in Tim Boyle at the end of this game here and then made it official this morning. And Tim Boyle is going to be the starter. Trevor Siemian's going to be the number 2. And then I don't know if you heard the news about Aaron Rodgers trying to come back to practice on December 2nd, which is just like a few weeks away, coming back from that Achilles that he suffered week 1. Like I know people with hamstring injuries that haven't literally, I think,
fully healed.
Haven't even fully healed on hamstrings, and this dude's tearing in his Achilles and hopefully coming back December 2nd. Basically, Robert Saleh, head coach over there, says until he's cleared by doctors, it's a moot point at this point. So he's not kind of, trying to get too excited. He's going to focus on the guys that are in the building. Good old coach speak there.
Ayahuasca going to his head.
Something's going on over there. So we'll see what happens. Yeah, so we'll see what happens, man. I mean, it will be exciting if he does make it back.
But the good thing about that, I honestly thought this dude's career is over.
Right.
Some
people are like, "Does he even coming back next year?"
Yes, I thought that right off the bat. I was like, "This dude got paid. Now he's just gonna up and quit." Like, why did he? I mean, he was old. He's old. I mean, that's the whole point, right?
40.
Yeah, and apparently he's still got some gas left in the tank because he's trying to get right back. So hey,
for sure, more power to him.
You know what I mean? What happens? And the other
I'll be watching
rumor on the coattails of this. I don't know if you heard about that rumor.
Oh, tell me.
Or it's not even a rumor. Somebody reported that they are going to go try to heavily go after Devontae Adams.
Devontae Adams, yeah.
So they could pair him again back up with Rodgers over there. So I think that's the big news on that. Well, rumor or whatever. I don't think it's that much of a rumor.
Allegedly. We'll throw allegedly out there.
I'm pretty sure that they're
little tampering going on.
I'm sure. Something. Yeah, you know what I mean? Like they're trying to make that
put it out there. Yeah, someone put it out there. So I think they did try to make a run at him during the trade deadline. So it's not like crazy, like breaking news as far as that goes. But they did say they would of course like to reunite the two. It would kind of make sense. Obviously, I'm sure Devontae wouldn't want to be over there with the Raiders. He'd rather go to a contender. They don't look like they're doing too much over there now after they traded away his best friend, Derek Carr. So we'll see how that all happens. Can't do anything this year, but it'll make for some good storylines next offseason.
Yeah, sure.
All right, so we'll move on here. The only other kind of non-injury related topic that I had, also related to starting quarterbacks, coming off their bye, Falcons coach Arthur Smith said Desmond Ridder will be their starter. They're saying, he hopes the decision to go back to him is going to be long-term now, so they're not going to keep wishy-washy going back and forth between him and Heineke. Kind of just wanted to sit Ridder, have him have a little reset. He was obviously had like 3 or 4 games in a row where he's like had 3 turnovers and crazy fumbles in the red zone, just, costing them trying to do a little too much. So maybe sitting him back, just letting him get a feel for it, make him be a little smarter with the ball, and we'll see how it goes. I just think he needs to keep on using Bijan, and he probably wouldn't have those problems, if he put the ball in Bijan's hand instead of freaking Ridder and having him running. We wouldn't even be having this situation in the first place. Like, I don't understand. So I hope Arthur Smith just gets fired, and we can all be happy drafting Bijan in the first round next year. If Arthur Smith is there, I'm not touching Bijan. I don't want to go through that again. So probably shame on me, right? Fool me once.
I hardly ever pay attention to coaches and whatever. I'm like, the player's good. The player's good. In this case, I'm gonna have to pay attention to the coaches. You know what I'm saying? Like,
for sure.
Usually never ever make that into a factor as to whether or not I'll draft a guy. But I'm telling you that this guy is changing my mind.
In this case, yeah. In this case, for sure. We got Season in the house. What's up, Season? Long time listener here. Good friend of the show. How's it going, Season? Glad you could catch us live here, man. So we'll get through the rest of these quick injury reads here. I'll read off a couple until I get tired, and I'll let you take over.
Right.
But we'll start here with some quarterback news. We have the Seahawks quarterback, Geno Smith, who's dealing with what Pete Carroll said is a triceps injury. They were talking about elbow. Apparently it came out as lower tricep, back of the elbow. It's been so all over the place with the reports today. Like every hour it's changed between the body part and exactly what happens. So we'll kind of see what happens. But either way, Carroll says he really thinks that he's got a great chance to make it back and play against the Niners on Thursday. Said there's no structural issues there as far as the elbow goes, but the elbow is sore. And I don't know if they did an MRI in regards to the whole tricep. And if you did see him on the sideline, the elbow wasn't wrapped. That thing was like bicep and I guess tricep. That was, wrapped up there. I was like, that's not an elbow. Like when I finally saw him have it all wrapped up. But then like in the last drive, when they need to get into field goal range, he comes back out on the field and he's thrown 46 yard throws to DK Metcalf over the middle, flinging it in there like he wasn't even hurt. He didn't wince or, anything. So maybe they were just kind of doing it more precautionary. Maybe they thought they had the game, and then, the Rams kind of made that push there at the end and ended up winning. So, we'll see what happens. Either way, if they can stick with the Rams, they're going to be tough to play against us. We've kind of had their number. They've had our number over the years, but these last couple matchups, we got them good. Obviously, Purdy, that was his first. He actually played the Bucs and then Seattle last year. So interesting how that, he played against Brady with his first ever start, and then had that quick turnaround on a Thursday to play Seattle in Seattle. And so he'll be doing that same thing here this week. So definitely as a Niners fan, looking forward to that. I don't have my hat today, so for the new people, I got to let them know where my allegiance stands. So there we go. Exactly. Yeah, just let you guys know. That's why I spent a little time on that one. Ravens head coach John Harbaugh said that Lamar Jackson, who tweaked his ankle in the game against the Bengals back on Thursday, he's fine, so he should be good to go this week. We have the Saints quarterback Derek Carr. It was reported today that he's still in the concussion protocol coming off the bye week, so something to keep your eye on there. You have Vikings head coach Kevin O'Connell on Justin Jefferson news here. Says, I know he had a really good week last week. We'll have an extra day this week. As of right now, I view him as questionable for the Monday Night Football game against the Bears. So again, just something to keep your eye on. We thought he might be activated this last week. They decided to hold him out one more week. And we'll see maybe if they hold him out one more week, week 12, they have to bye week 13, and maybe bring him back week 14 just to make sure that thing's for sure
probably
healed
more
up.
realistic.
Yeah, I think week 14, he should definitely be back. We'll see what happens here. It might be nice to kind of just play him and have 2 weeks to kind of recover after kind of ramping up and playing in this first game. I would like to just kind of get him out there, even if it's in a limited role, maybe in a decoy type thing, just to kind of get him used to some game action. But it'd be hard to get him out there and not actually use him if you do have him on the field.
Right.
So we'll see what happens there. Other wide receiver news: we have Puka Nacua. Hurt his shoulder in Sunday's game. It's unclear how serious it is, according to McVay. Also, Cooper Kupp, he went down with a lower ankle sprain. He's considered day to day. Remember, he had that tightrope surgery. I don't know if it was the same ankle that he hurt that kept him out basically throughout the year last year. And he's just said, given his history with the ankle injuries, they want to be careful with him before they'll determine whether he can play Sunday. He was trying to get it right. On Sunday, tried to come back, maybe play in that second half, just didn't feel right. And they wanted to err on the side of caution there and not risk him going back in again with that ankle injury history, plus the history of the recent hamstrings. It wasn't, worth doing that. And they got the win anyway. So good for them. I'll let you take over here. I need to take a drink anyway. So go ahead with your Cowboy news.
Perfect timing right here. We're going into the Cowboys news. Coach Mike McCarthy said that the CD Lamb's ankle injury is not a high concern today, but noted that they'll have to better feel of it on Wednesday's practice. So they're not too concerned about it, but they do play for Thanksgiving on Thursday, so we got to keep an eye on that. We also got Dolphins running back Devon Achane. Terrible, man. He came back. I got lucky. I actually overslept. Wasn't even able to put him in, and it worked out in my favor because he didn't fare too well. I think he only had like one play, and then he will not need the surgery after re-aggravating the same knee versus the Raiders. So it's the same one, which is bad, right? I mean, you don't want them to go back out there and get that same injury again. But Mike Daniel said that it did not rule out A-Chain for Friday's game versus the Jets. And he said it's day to day, and that should be interesting because that's the first Black Friday game we're ever having.
Yeah.
So that should be cool. And that's a pretty decent matchup on that over there. So, but obviously we want to keep an eye on A-Chan. Are you firing him up again, just really quick? Just another.
I don't know. It's kind of tough too, over there coming off, back to back. I'll need to see how he's kind of progressing through the week before, I'd want to throw him in. If I did have him, I'm sure I was telling people I wasn't on the Friday show this week, but had I been asked, I would have probably tried to get A-Chan in there. I mean, just the way he's been running, it was hard not to. Been on IR. It wasn't like they tried to rush him back,
I said that I
but
agreed
yeah,
with you last week, but this time I want to see how
kind of
he
give it a
actually
game.
fares. Now I want to give it a game. Exactly. I think that the coaching's probably going to throw him in there, but they're going to keep him on the pitch count. Because I mean, obviously this re-aggravation is no good. You know what I mean? So they're going to
The dude's explosive. That's the
yeah,
thing, and so he's real. It's hard, when you get in that mindset and your body just reacts that quickly. If the structure of your ankle isn't there, you're going to cause some
yeah,
problems. So
yeah,
yeah,
exactly. So keep an eye on him. See how
go ahead.
it progresses day to day, and then make a decision. I'd wait till Friday, because they'll let you know Friday morning whether he's going to be playing or not.
Right.
So have a backup plan. It's going to be a weird way to set up your
Yeah.
teams
I
right
mean,
now.
at
I mean,
least it's Friday. You'll know, and you still have all the games on Sunday to still figure
exactly
it out. So
switch out some players. The Rams running back Kyron Williams will return from for the Rams this week, so I've been waiting on him to come back. Although David Henderson did have a decent week again, but I'll be happy to see him come back. Seahawks running back Kenneth Walker suffered an oblique strain that was legit, So once I'm being a candidate to go on R, but not at this point. So Pete Carroll said that they need to learn more. So right now, Zach Charbonnet has been like
don't
line up
like the
the stretch.
verbiage they're using with
Yeah,
all that.
yeah,
Very funky.
yeah,
You can't really
exactly.
get a straight answer out of Carroll anyway, and this is
Yeah,
even more kind of
it's
So
which makes
I'm not thinking they're going to rush him back on a short week against this Niners defense anyway, especially
yeah,
when they have someone like Charbonnet, who I think is probably no question the number one waiver wire ad this week. So
yeah,
not that you're rushing out to start him against my Niners D
yeah,
anyway,
yeah.
like
But
Warrior
sometimes you
Loft
have
said
to.
here.
If
Yeah.
the guy's out there and he's starting, sometimes you got to because there is even garbage time touches or something. Work at some point, and it does pass catch passes, so that's not so bad for him, right?
Yeah.
Packers running back Aaron Jones, a knee is preliminary manipulation test done on his knee showed that his ACL was intact. So that's good news. He should have an MRI on Monday to determine the extent of the injury. So no, he's another guy we got to keep an eye on. Running backs
Looked
are just not
brutal.
faring well
Carted
this year
off.
at all.
Towel over his head.
Yeah,
Thought it
that's
was an
all.
ACL. Thought he's done for the year. And then today they're just like, oh, it's not that bad. Like he might be back in a week or two.
Yeah.
Not even ruled him out for this Friday. So very both sides of the spectrum on this too. So
Yeah.
anyway, go ahead. Go ahead.
They're not trying to give up their their juice too. But I mean, go pick up AJ Dillon, friend of the podcast here, was friend of the show. Right?
There you go.
Another Waiver Wire ad.
I got him on my list.
Bears running back Deontay Foreman ankle left the game, did not return. Herbert finished the game, so another thing to keep an eye out. Deontay Foreman was leading over there pretty much, so this might
Even
open
with
the door
Herbert
for,
back, yeah.
Yeah, this
Hopefully,
might
just
open the door
Foreman's
for
gone.
that.
I'll make it easy. Yeah, make it
Yeah,
easy to
exactly.
just throw Herbert in there
Make
again.
each one, and then Roshan goes back to second again, or who knows?
Yeah.
Depending on this guy's injury, but Deontay Foreman just comes in there and just steals the show sometimes.
Yeah.
John Harbaugh said the Ravens tight end Mark Andrews, another one of my guys, killing me here. Injury isn't as bad as they initially feared, though the damage done is a little cleaner than initially feared, and there's an outside chance that he could be returned later this season. But Harbaugh's reluctant to say that he will be back, so he's pretty much done fantasy wise.
Right.
So that's a big ding for a lot of people because he's playing very well. I mean, I have him on my team, one of my teams, and he was holding down his spot. So now it's back to waiver wire roulette, tight end roulette here. Let's see who we can get and fire him up, right?
Mm-hmm. Which we'll see when we get to our top performers. Why I don't care about drafting tight ends because you just grab one any week and throw him in there. And
well, he's a decent one to grab, man. He's a decent.
Yeah,
one to
him
grab,
and Kelsey, of course. Kittle's been balling. There's a couple that you feel comfortable with, like 5. But other than that, if you don't get one of those guys, then who cares?
It doesn't matter. Like get lucky, right?
They're all in the same situation, yeah.
Which brings another tight end, Bills tight end, Dawson Knox. Wrist is eligible to return to practice this week, but Sean McDermott says he does not believe that Knox is ready to do that yet, which is good news for our guy over there. That
for
is
Kincaid, yeah.
Kincaid owners.
Just keep him away. Keep him away
out of there. I'm not sure if they would bring him back. They'll probably bring him back in some fashion. But I think Kincaid has earned the spot and is holding down the spot very well with Knox out. So obviously it's a threat because if he does play, they start taking some touches away or looks. So that's not good.
Yeah. And it would suck for the Shakir owners as well because Shakir's been popping off ever since Knox has been out of the lineup too. Caught like a 61-yard touchdown, 81-yard touchdown or something like that this week. So I mean that would be definitely a hit to I think Shakir as well as Kincaid if Knox comes back and they put him back in that same role. I'll read this last one here, man, because normally I don't even put defensive news in here.
Nobody wants to know. Nobody cares.
I have to, man. My boy.
Fallacy relevant.
Talanoga, Hufanga, Huff, torn ACL, got juked out of his kneecaps by Rashad White out in the open field. And, we talk about breaking ankles. This dude tore ACLs. So it was a little cleaner. They said there's no other damage besides only the torn ACL, but he's done for the season. Huge blow to this Niners defense. So just have to send out some good health and return here for my boy Huff. And hopefully we get him back here, bigger, better, badder next season. But this season's done so let's go win one for him, get that ring for him, and come back next year and make him want it and be hungry for some more. So we'll see how it goes. But I had to include that in there, man. It's a tough blow. So there it goes, man.
He'll get you.
Yeah, so that wraps up our news and notes here. So let's see here. We'll go back to some comments we had. Where were we at? So I want to get back to that question that Wire Loft had here. He said, picked up Charbonnet before Sunday's games. Hold on, let me throw for the timestamps. Let's throw that live Q&A in there. So he said, oops, sorry, Ron. Get back up there. That's why we need a producer. We'll get there. We'll get there. All right, so Warloff said, I picked up Charbonnet before Sunday's game, so good job for you. He said, I only have Mostert, Keaton Mitchell. Henderson got lucky with the touchdown, and he's losing touches to Freeman. Plus, you have Kyron Williams coming back now as well to just really muck up that Rams backfield. So he said, would you start Charbonnet versus your Niners defense? I would definitely start Mostert and Charbonnet over Mitchell and one of those three Rams running backs, or at least Hendo. In your situation, probably not going to be great, but remember Charbonnet is kind of the pass catching back. If anything, those type of guys like Rashad White had a decent game against the Niners with all the catches he was able to have. Didn't have great rushing numbers, was able to do a little bit. But I think he's a little safer start. Plus, the Seahawks do play the Niners pretty tough every year, and it's going to be in Seattle, so I wouldn't mind going Charbonnet and Mostert there. What about you?
I wouldn't be afraid. Definitely Mostert. Keep him rolling. I wouldn't be afraid of Charbonnet as well. Like you're saying, they play. That's a tough game for both sides. They play to their respective teams. Even when they're not doing well some years or whatever, that's the games that they kind of show up for or whatever, right? Um,
Yeah,
and especially since he's at home, it gives them that 12th man that they got out there type situation. So that'll help. So I'd run with that. I wouldn't have high expectations, but sometimes you got to kind of roll with the guy, especially the next man up, depending on your injury situations nowadays with all these running backs and whatnot. Um, you got to go with who you have. I think he's better
absolutely.
than your other options.
Roll him
Henderson's not
out.
gonna Henderson's not gonna be around. You know what I mean? Keaton Mitchell, you're hoping for a touchdown. Um, I mean, and that's it.
There you go. And yeah, Gus Bus, like Ron's kind of saying in the chat here, he had a big game this week on my bench, of course. Uh, I had some good
Yeah, I
running
wasn't
back
sold on
starts this
Keaton
week,
Mitchell.
but
I was like, who's gonna? He's
yeah,
not taking his spot. Remember, I said that. That he's
yeah,
not
no,
taking his
Gus
spot.
not going anywhere. Yeah.
Yeah.
You got Ray Gamer in the house saying, "Hey guys, how's it going, Ray? Appreciate you checking out the stream here." He says he just won this week. Jalen Hurts saved the night, moving on to 8-3. He's in second place now, and he only needs one win or two to officially be in the playoffs. So he's trying to get that asterisk and lock up that playoff spot, like I did last week in our keeper league, the one I'm trying to go get that belt from you in. Just
He
had to
was all
throw that in
pumped
there.
loving about
Hey, as soon as we got off the
that.
stream, remember I was like hype on that, dude. I got excited seeing that asterisk,
Yeah.
man. It's nice to know that even if you were to lose out, you're still at least in the playoffs. So there's nothing there's no better feeling setting your lineup when you know that it matters because you
Messing
want to
up no
keep that
more.
momentum going, but
Yeah.
you can literally lose out and mathematically you're still gonna at least be, the bottom rung in there. So it was nice to get that asterisk there and lock in that playoff spot. But he says he just traded away for Barkley for Eckler last Friday. So I just traded away for Barkley for Eckler. So you got Barkley and Eckler, or did you trade for Barkley using Eckler to get Barkley? I don't know how you're saying that. So Ray, if you're still here with us, try to clarify that for us. But either way, if you have one of those two guys, if it's Barkley, I'd still try to sell him high off this RB1 finish that he had here this week because it was against Washington, but his schedule coming up is pretty brutal. And I don't think that offense is going to do what they did. Remember, Washington sold all their pieces away. Chase Young's with the Niners now. Marcus Sweat is over here with the Eagles. They can't stop anybody with the run over there. So, is what it is. I would sell him high if you do have Barkley right now. And if you did sell Barkley to get Eckler, good job. Eckler had the fumble, should have been a touchdown. Things happen, but in the long run, I like Eckler more over Barkley at this point. So hopefully that's what you got. What else we got here?
Remember to start saying get right at Rasta at Frank. Helps us find the comments a little easier, especially when the chat's kind of going crazy sometimes.
For sure. So he said, Eckler's schedule looks great, but I do not want to be a part of that Giants offense the rest of the year either. So, okay, so he traded away Barkley to get Eckler, and then it makes the guy feel good that he had a good week this week,
Good
but the
week,
next
right?
week's, and then Eckler had a bad week. Dude's probably feeling great, so, you'll get the last laugh. He may have won the battle, but you should win the war.
Yeah, exactly. Not to say
So we
that
got,
neither guy is bad. I mean, it's not like
yeah.
Barkley, but I mean they did get the win. I mean, the Giants worked it out.
Not going to happen again, but good
No.
for them. The win sucks too because now they just lowered their chances for a better draft pick. They won, but they still lost if you really think about it. So it's just silly. It's just silly. But good for the people that are there, and good for Barkley. Obviously, he's in a contract season. Obviously, they can franchise him again, but hopefully, if they let him go, he'll get a good contract and it's a good way for him to keep showcasing his talents.
Yeah.
You got George playing here saying this week I traded away Ken Walker for Pollard and he picked up Charbonnet. Got lucky. That's smooth moves right there, George. There you go. That's for sure. Like when things work out well like that. Pollard had a decent game. Still not great, but he should have been able to tear up the Carolina in their last place run defense. But at least he got a touchdown for you.
Actually, it was one of
Warrior
his
said,
better games. He did do pretty well against him. So, I mean, either
Yeah.
way, Kenneth Walker got injured. So, I mean,
yeah, exactly. In that
that's a win
case,
already right there. You know what I'm saying? Think
for
about
sure,
that.
for sure. Warrior said, just give me Eckler all day, so he's agreeing there. George said, big flex on him. He's 9-1. There we go. Welcome to the 9-1 club. I have a few 9-1 teams. Actually, I think I have 2. He says, should I trade Tua and Olave for ETN? He does have Fields. I don't know why people are trying to trade Tua away. Like, this dude is like really, really good at football. I mean, maybe not him per se, but the weapons he has, he's like kind of like a beefed up version of Brock Purdy, I guess you would say. Like, he has great weapons available
You know
to
what
him.
I
He's
think
going to
what
put
the
up
thing it
fantasy
is
points,
that
but
people probably picked them up as their number 2.
well, so late,
QB,
yeah.
so late, so that they're willing to move on them because they got that great value out of them, kind of like, and they probably have another QB because again they picked them up this guy so late.
Yeah. In
It
this
might be
case, he
their
has
second guy.
Fields.
Yeah, that's what
I
I'm
wouldn't
saying.
because Fields is very injury prone. You just saw him have the
Yeah,
whole thumb issue. We've seen what just happened
yeah.
to Joe Burrow. Like
I
Lamar
would
Jackson
trade
nicked up.
Fields. That's who I would trade. I would trade
I
Fields.
would honestly, and I'm usually never for rostering 2 quarterbacks, as you usually know. But the way
No.
quarterbacks are handling, and we're heading into the playoffs now, this is when you kind of want to start setting yourself up. And to me, unless you're like completely dying at running back, like ETN, you do have to worry about his schedule coming up. It's not the greatest of schedules heading into the playoffs here. Let me see. Why did my schedule grid go away here? But I know his playoff run is a little tough there for ETN. And Olave, I think he'll still be fine. Maybe he has a down game if Carr's not back, but I still like what he's been doing. And if Trevor Lawrence keeps doing his thing and they're not going to be running the ball like crazy over there, ETN's maybe losing some of that value. But he has the Texans defense, which they've been playing well. Bengals have been pretty good, but then week 14 is the Browns rushing defense top. Then you get the first week of the playoff is Baltimore. Second week of the playoffs is Tampa Bay. So those 3 games are brutal. If you do happen to make it through that, you get a nice matchup in the championship week against Carolina, week 17 at home. So that should be good there for you. But you got to make sure you get there. And the Bucks just held Christian McCaffrey to like 70 yards on like 16 carries, and he's by far their RB1. So if they were able to do that to him, imagine what they're going to do to someone like ETN, who's good, but he's not McCaffrey yet. So so that's my only reserve there. But if you absolutely need a running back, then the fact that you can get ETN with the running backs that are left, it's not a bad option. So what you think on that one?
I think he's also giving up too much. I mean, I don't know. I guess it depends on the quarterback. But 2 for 1 for ETN. But I don't know.
Could happen.
Like you said,
Either way.
Like you said, it's just why you're holding 2 QBs, and at this point, you might want to keep them. All depends on how you're suffering in a running back situation. I like to see the whole team.
I just figure if you're 9-1 without ETN, you're probably fine. Like you're probably okay. You're not like if you're more like 6-4 or 7-4 or
Yeah, where you're trying to make a move,
5-6
solidify
or something like
position.
that, and you're starting like Kyron Williams, or not even Kyron, but like maybe you have like Keaton Mitchell and some other just waiver wire guy, like Henderson, like, and you need to get someone like ETN, just set it and forget it type guy, then I would do something like this. But at 9-1, if you already have some decent RB1, at least not even 2 decent RBs, then I'm probably sticking with 2 and Olave there.
Yeah, that's the same thing.
Yeah. We got Conrad back in the house saying, "What's up? How's it going?" He said he just lost by 1.
Don't skip Roy here.
I'm just saying we already said what's up to Roy. I'm just trying to get the new people so they don't go away thinking we're not getting to their stuff. I know what I'm doing over here. I got a method to my madness. Ray's not going anywhere. He said he just lost, and it's not even really a question. He's just giving a quick shout out. So I was going to do that. And then, no, it's not. He says, I just lost by 1 because Aaron Jones got hurt and Devontae didn't get in the end zone on that bomb today. That's it. And then I was going to go to Ray's question. See,
My
I got
bad. I
this,
was
Frank. I've been doing this.
sorry.
I got you.
Don't
No,
get
I
all
got you.
testy here.
It's all good. So going back to Ray here, he says, I could see Dak going off on Thanksgiving and standard. Oh, that's why you wanted to get to him, because he's talking about Dak. Okay. I see how it is.
And you know, go back to Connie over here. That's why I lost me the game too, man. I lost by 10
Oh,
points because I have both him on there. So
the almost touchdown. Yeah, you have Hurts and Smith. You have the stack. Yeah.
I have the stack in two teams in two different leagues.
Oh, yeah.
And one of them already had locked up the win. The other one I lost by 2 because Smith couldn't.
Oh, that would have
If he
done
would
it.
have just got in the end zone, it would have been fine. It would have been just fine.
Yeah,
Anyway,
could have won by like 7 or 8. Yeah, at that
I was
point.
just trying to go in order. Sorry about that, but I feel you.
One
Connie. I'm right
1
there. I'm
yard
right there
short.
with you. I literally have it in 2 leagues. So I'm
Oof.
good.
1 yard short. 1 yard short. So getting back to races, I see Dak going off on Thanksgiving in standard 6 points, a touchdown league against the Commanders, and DeVito just torched them for 3 touchdowns. Would you still play Hurts versus the Bills over Dak?
But I still play Hurts versus the Bills over Dak.
Ooh, that's tough,
I
because I
would
know you
still
like
play
Hurts
Dak
and you
because
like
Dak has
Dak.
been on fire.
Yeah.
That's why you go roll with the high hand, not because of anything else. Even if although he is my quarterback, but the dude's been on fire, throwing 300-400 yard games with multiple touchdowns. And you just got to stick with the high hand. And I would not get fancy. That's all I'm saying.
Hey, in the league I have Dak and Stroud again. Guess who I started this week again? I started Stroud, and he was doing
Yeah.
great. I was like, okay,
Yeah.
good. Finally, I made the right decision.
Yeah.
And then he ends up throwing 3 picks. Still had a decent day,
Yeah,
but
they
3
still got
picks.
the win. They still got
And
the
he's
win.
and still got the win. And then he scored 1 less point than Dak.
Yeah.
So luckily, I still got the W, but it was still like,
Yeah.
really? I just cannot start these guys the right way. So that's in a situation where I need to just trade one of them off, so I don't have that scenario anymore. But yeah, man, that's tough. That's tough.
So what do you say? Would you stick
For
with
me, I
Dak,
think
or
I'd
you
go with
gonna
Dak
go
too,
with
man.
Hurts?
He's riding the hot hand. Hurts is just a floor. They're winning on defense. I mean, he's going to get those rushing touchdowns. It's tough either. Like, I don't think you can really go wrong either way. I think it's a situation like me with Stroud and Dak. Like, I'm not going wrong. Like, I keep starting them. They're both like finishing top 3. It's just a matter of a couple of points, and luckily, it hasn't cost me a game yet. I've still been able to pull out the W's with it. But that's what happens when you have 2, high end options like that. So, yeah, I mean, how do you not
make decisions?
yeah, how do you not start him against this Washington defense at this point? So obviously Pollard's not doing anything. So yeah.
If DeVito could do it, you know what I mean?
Yeah. Especially if Dak's trying to get this whole MVP kind of thing going on, like, he needs a nice 4 touchdown game. I could see it happening for sure.
There's a 40 burger coming.
Exactly. So let's see. Got Ray in here, just kind of mentioned off his stuff. He says his kicker Aubrey plays on Thanksgiving, and the Commanders also allow most points to kickers. Or do you play Dustin Hopkins versus the Broncos on Sunday? Kicking, kickers are hard. I don't usually like talking kickers so much, but I don't think you can really go wrong with Aubrey right now. Hopkins has been doing okay as far as that goes, from what I understand. But yeah, I mean, Aubrey should be fine. Like you said, they score the most, have the most points.
I think the Broncos mile highs, they get a little bit of the air, but you're indoor at Dallas, so.
Yeah, cold weather over there at Broncos. So yeah, I'd go with Aubrey, ride that hot hand. And then he just gives us this whole lineup there. We won't read that off, but it is a nice lineup. So keep it going, Ray. And he's just saying trades are over in his league. So there you go. We got JAC in the house saying, should I start Laporta or Njoku next week? So you like Laporta or Njoku? DTR is going to be. I think you still have to go Laporta as well. But again, I don't think you can really go wrong with these two. You're just hoping one of them finds the end zone. I think DTR, we always say, like, kind of with the younger or rookie type quarterbacks, they do like to target that tight end a little more, whereas Goff can make all the throws on the field. So he's pushing it down. We saw him connect with Jameson Williams, who I saw you dropped, and then of course scores like a 30-yard touchdown or whatever it is right when you drop him. So that's the story of our lives sometimes. Obviously, he's throwing to ASB.
Hey, and pick up the guy I pick up and put in didn't even play.
Right.
Terrible.
It happens. That's gotta love to hate it.
My guy waited this whole time.
Right? Yeah, and then you drop him, and then of course he gets that. I mean, he only had 2 catches and one of them for a touchdown, but
Yeah.
it's Boomer. But we all knew that that's what he was going to be this year. But yeah, so for me, I don't think you really go wrong either way. I have Laporta and Njoku on several teams because again, I was later great as far as the tight end positions, and I didn't get any great tight ends this year. So all my tight ends were basically late at this point. So I was able to grab Laporta and Njoku in several places. I've been fine with Njoku's output. And like I said, ever since the whole Burns thing, and when I really started like looking into Njoku, he's kind of just been one of my favorite players. After seeing that little costume and stuff he put on, and that dude is just ripped. And seen like 3 guys try to take him down this week too on one of his sketches. Like, I just really like that dude for whatever reason, man. So again, that's not any kind of in-depth analysis there. It's just pure feel and what I like. I don't think you can really go wrong. But I think Njoku has a chance at higher targets. But we know Laporta can kind of go off any week attached to Goff.
Yeah.
So yeah, I mean it's a little tough, but I would probably personally go
I just go with the
Njoku.
safer offense
But
with Goff. That's why I'm going that way. You know what I mean?
oh, okay. See, so we're split on that
Yeah.
one. So
No Joku,
there we go.
like you're saying, he passes the eye test. You know what I mean? He's a baller type dude. You know what I mean? And that's why you like him, and he's doing well even with a what rookie or whatever type quarterback they got going over there at the Browns. And that's the only reason. But you had a good point. Those younger guys do target the tight ends more. He had a decent game here, so I kind of like wanted to see that happen, anyways,
Mhm.
against a good defense like Pittsburgh, and then it kind of makes you feel more comfortable about starting a joke going forward as well.
Yeah.
So, I don't think you go wrong, but I think Laporta has been outscoring Njoku overall,
A little
right?
more regularly. Yeah, and
Yeah,
it's Goff at home, which he does play a little better at
yeah,
home
and that's why
versus on the road.
that's what I'm taking from it. So it's just
Thanksgiving,
yeah,
maybe they get
yeah,
Laporta in the end zone. I just think
exactly.
with Demont and Gibbs back, like I just think there's so many weapons there. Whereas for Cleveland, it's basically Amari Cooper and Njoku.
Him Amari, yeah,
Yeah, I mean that's
yeah.
pretty much it. So that's why I kind of lean a little more Njoku. But
There you go.
either way, yeah, come back with us
I don't think
Friday
you could
when
go
we're a
wrong.
little
I
more.
don't think you could go wrong.
Yeah, come back
You
on Friday and we'll let you know where we're at, JAC.
write that
So
down. We'll come back to that.
for sure. We got Will Hayes in the house, man. What's
What
up,
up? What
Will?
up?
How's it going? How's it going?
Gameplay play game with another one. George
Yeah, go ahead.
played Charbonnet or Warren for the flex this week.
Ooh.
Who's Warren? Who they playing against?
I mean, I know Sharp's playing against my Niners, passing back, so it doesn't scare me too much like it would more like a, first and second
They're
down
playing Cincinnati
back.
at Cincinnati.
With no Joe Burrow at Cincy on that turf. It's still outdoor, but still turfy. Um, I think I'm gonna go Warren in that situation, man. I like what I saw to Warren. He's officially been named the starter.
Yeah,
Najee was pretty upset after this week. I don't know, he was upset. We all been seeing it. Like he just kind of sucked
I
compared
would
to when
I would
Warren
just
has the
take him
ball. But
because
yeah,
Charbonnet is he is getting the lead, but he's getting the lead against the San Francisco 49ers defense, which is make it you know you got to
yeah.
go with the guy going not against one of the best defenses in the NFL, right?
And technically Walker hasn't been ruled out yet, so we still don't know if it's just going to be purely Charbonnet.
Yeah,
So again, come back Wednesday. This is
and
why we
that's
don't answer start sit on Monday. Like we got to
that's
let
right.
the
Overreact.
week
Yeah,
play out a little. We're here to overreact, but come back Wednesday and we'll have a better idea then. So let's see.
get some practices in or not, right?
There
Some
we
more
go.
injury news.
For sure. So we got Ray saying thanks, of course, to us over here. Got some guys talking about some defenses.
Let's get
Oh
that
yeah,
back right in here, man. Come on, guys. I'm gonna put
yeah,
that in the thing.
yeah. We'll have to pin it or something. It says drop the Jets defense for the Chiefs defense. I would for sure. Defense is fire. Um, yeah, I like you can just roll kind of with the Chiefs defense at this point. Let me see who they're actually playing here in Week 12. They're playing at the Raiders. Oh yeah, you can get the Chiefs defense against the Raiders for sure. Rookie quarterback. They're going to be pissed off that they just lost. They're going to stick it to the Raiders at Vegas too. So they're going to want to get in there, beat them, go hit the casino and the afterlife, the after
Was
nightlife.
that
What's
the
it called?
Chiefs?
Afterlife. The nightlife, not the
Yeah,
afterlife. Let's stay away from the afterlife.
yeah,
Let's
yeah.
just go hit the nightlife.
Night
Is
life.
yeah, what I meant to say there. You got the Jets defense, but man,
And
they're going to be starting Tim Boyle this week.
numbers, man. They got the Raiders number too.
Oh yeah, for sure. Divisional game. And then you got the Jets defense. Obviously, defense is good, but we don't know what's going to happen with Boyle on the other side of the ball. And you got the Jets playing against Miami, who can put up points. You got to deal with Tyreek there, so I'm for sure going Chiefs there, no question.
But not necessarily drop. I mean, he's talking rest of the season. Sounds like when you drop, are you like? Do you know what I mean? He's dropping 4. You know what I mean? So he's making a move.
Yeah, I mean, rest of the season. I mean, I think Chiefs are, like you said, like Chiefs are kind of like, they're one of the top defenses regardless of like matchup. I don't want to say they're matchup proof, but no one's really putting up a ton of points on them. And the Chiefs offense is defensive as well when you're dealing with Patrick Mahomes. So you got to kind of deal with that too. So the rest of the Jets schedule after Miami, they get Falcons, Texans, Dolphins, Commanders, and Browns. So I mean, it's not great, but again, I'm just more worried about the offense kind of messing with the Jets defense a little more than Kansas City. They're just good on offense and defense. So yeah. They get Packers, Raiders, Packers, Bills, Patriots, Raiders, Bengals with no Joe Burrow. So yeah, I'll stick with the Chiefs defense even rest of the season. So man, kicker questions and defensive questions on a Monday. Let's go. Right. So there it is. All right.
Even
So
Green, he's just talking about I'm holding the Chiefs defense with Dallas just so others can't have them.
Oh, there you go.
That's a thought for you over here, just to let you know. Maybe you roll with both of them.
There it is. All right, so let's get to it, man. You want to?
I would just stick with the Chiefs, honestly. Tell you
the truth. Unless you needed a roster spot. But let's do it, man. Let's get into our top performers and give out some game balls this week. We're gonna go position by position here. We're gonna read off the top 5 performers of Week 11 at their respective positions, and then Frank and I are gonna give out our game balls. Feel free to let us know who you guys want to give a game ball to. It doesn't necessarily have to be one of the top 5, but just by position, we'd love to hear who you guys would give a game ball to, see if it matches up with us, or maybe you have someone different. So, Frank, I'll turn it over to you here for your segment here for your top performers, and let's start with the quarterback position.
I'm going to start off with Trevor Lawrence this week. Had a comeback game.
Bounce back. Get right game.
Get right, yes. QB1 over here ended a final of 34-14 versus Tennessee. Went 24-32, 262 yards and 2 touchdowns. A quarterback rating of 119.53 with a 75% completion rating at 8.2 yards per attempt. He did rush 5 attempts, 17 yards for 3.4 yard average and 2 touchdowns. Ends up the day with 36.18 fantasy points. With the 6-point passing touchdown league on there. This is all 6-point per passing touchdown scoring on the quarterbacks. So yeah, nice get right game there for Trevor Lawrence. Unfortunately, I ended up benching him with my girl. I actually let her decide on that one, and she felt terrible about the fact that all those points are on the bench finally. Right, but that happens. You know what I mean?
Yeah, you can't hold it to you on that one. Him and Ridley. A lot of people probably sat him this week.
Yeah, they were sad. So we got Brock Purdy, your boy over here, getting a final of 27-14 over the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Going 21-25 for 333 yards and 3 touchdowns. Super efficient. A quarterback rating 158.33, 84% completion rating.
Perfect.
13.3 yards per attempt. And then he did 4 rushes and 4 rushing attempts, 14 yards, 3.5 yard average. At the end of the day, with the longest touchdown of the season so far, right?
6 yards to Brandon Ayuk.
Yeah, you guys are all happy about that.
Perfect QB rating.
32.72 fantasy points on the week. So not too bad. Not too bad.
Just going back to the Trevor Lawrence one here before you move on. 45% of the people on Sleeper started in this week. So that's it. So don't feel bad. He was less than half of the fantasy. 87% rostered. So those people who didn't drop him of the 87%, 45%. Yeah, only 45% started him. And I'm sure that was probably more in 2 QB and Superflex leagues. Yeah, so we'll see.
Yeah, exactly. Right. There's a moment 2 QB Superflex leagues where you couldn't not start the guys.
Right. You weren't happy about it.
If that weren't the case, right?
Right.
So then we got Justin Herbert here,
my boy.
QB3 for the weekend, final of 23-20 at Green Bay. I think Green Bay came back to win this one against the Chargers, right?
Yeah, pretty good game.
Yeah, 21-36.
Chargers doing Chargers thing.
At 260 yards and 2 touchdowns, QB rating 99.31. 58.3% completion rating and 72 yards attempt. 8 rushing attempts at 73 yards and a 90.1 yard average. So he's getting these yards on his feet. 29.70 fantasy points on the day. Very decent day over there. And then we got Danny DeVito here, Tommy DeVito.
Danny DeVito, I love it.
At QB4, final 19-31 at Washington. So they got Washington's number over there. The only 2 wins they got this year is against Washington. So there you go. 18-26, 246 yards and three touchdowns. That's some nice numbers over there for DeVito. Quarterback rating at 137.66, a 69.2 completion rating, 9.5 yard average per attempt, 1 rushing attempt, 7 yards. So he ends up the day with a 28.54 fantasy points. Decent day for this young guy here. So
Danny DeVito, the GOAT.
maybe he'll continue to go. And I actually added him to our waiver wire segment because you only had 2 other guys, and I was like, he's worth a mention. You never know. Deeper leagues.
Oh, I know.
If
Not
people
touching.
need him. Yeah, he's not touching. We're not touching him, but you
Worth a
never know.
mention. Worth a
You
mention.
never know. You could have had a quarterback go down already recently too. So you got to get somebody. You got to get who you get.
Right.
Because Deshaun Watson went out on me too recently, and I was like, man,
Yeah.
everybody,
It's brutal week.
the guy I pick
Brutal
up
week.
gets benched. It's all bad. Josh Allen here at the QB5 position. He ends up going the final of 32-6 against the Jets here. Buffalo getting a get right game for themselves over there, right? So you got 20-32 for 275 yards, 3 touchdowns, and 1 INT. A QB rating of 108.2, 62.5 per completion rating, 8.6 yards per attempt, and 5 rushing attempts, 15 yards, 3 yard average. Ends up the day with 28.5 fantasy points. So yeah, who are you getting out game ball to here on all these guys?
Do I even have to ask? My boy Brock Purdy, big cock Brock 30 came up 3 points short. We should have had it. 20. We kind of came out flat in the second half. But 158.33 perfect passer rating, man. First time in Niners history since like the 80s, like since Montana and Steve Young did it. And like they want to say Brock's a system quarterback, but he don't have. I mean, would you say Jerry Rice and Terrell Owens are better than Brandon Ayuk and Deebo Samuel as far as wide receivers go? Like nobody said Steve Young,
I
and
will say that.
they didn't say, oh, he's just surrounded by talent. Like you can't even say Christian McCaffrey was better than either one of those guys. Is just a pure football player, but yet, it's all Purdy's weapons, right? I mean, this dude just makes good decisions, puts the ball where it needs to go. Just goes to show you don't need the biggest arm. You don't need to be 6'6" to be effective, in this league. You got to just have good coaching scheme, get guys in the right position, make the right read, and deliver the ball on time, on target, and, get a little luck here and there as well, too. Get some good protection up front, and you can make some things happen. So, BCB, you're getting my game ball, boy. There we go. Who you giving out your game ball to?
Tommy DeVito, man.
Oh, give it to him.
No relation to Danny DeVito, but whatever,
No
man. Hey, I mean, he comes out. He has a pretty good
He'll
game.
never
over
be here
here
again, so well done.
Exactly. Like it'll be a one and done. But you never know, man. So things could happen. But
Hey, it could be the next Purdy. You never know, right?
Yeah, I mean, he gets his one game in there. Next, maybe, you never know. Maybe he gets some things turned around over there for New York, which would again not help them because they could have went to that first. But they already paid what's his name anyways. They paid him way too much money. Now they know they got garbage. So.
Oh yeah, Daniel Jones.
Daniel Jones. So it's all bad. So, anyways, better luck for them at the Giants. But hey, he got the win in. You got a good performance out of him. And if
Danny
you're
DeVito,
struggling,
the GOAT.
if you have to get a Danny DeVito, that's
Game
an
ball.
option out there because he's definitely not heavily rostered or anything like that.
Very nice.
Yeah. Moving on. I guess we're going on to the running backs here. This is going to be half point PPR now. Just to give you guys a heads up on that scoring. So number one running back, which is where we were just talking about that, Danny DeVito here over here. Tommy DeVito. I can't help myself. Saquon Barkley here.
Danny Dimes and Tommy DeVito is the Danny DeVito.
Right? That's what
quarterback
it is, right?
room. It's the Danny DeVito quarterback room. Oh man.
These guys. So yeah, Saquon, dude, out of the same game, Saquon Barkley, RB1 for the week. Again, a 19-31 win over Washington. 14 attempts, 83 yards, 5.9 yard average, 5 targets, 4 receptions, 57 yards, and 2 touchdowns. So he got the touchdowns in the air. Sorry about running out of breath there. Got 28.
A lot of stats.
Yeah, half PPR fantasy points on the day. Just killing it over there. And we're
Sell them high. If your trade deadline's still there,
exactly.
sell them high.
Sell them like you. You got Jalen Warren, just after being named the starter over there at Pittsburgh as the number 1 guy, ends up with a final of 13-10 at Cleveland. 9 attempts, 129 yards, 14.3 yard average, and a TD. He also went 3 for 3.
What was it, a 71-yard touchdown that he ran for 74-yard or something like that?
That was crazy. Yeah. It was nice. And 3 receptions, 16 yards. Ends up the day with 22 fantasy points. So yeah, Jalen Warren making the best he can out of his start. So he's trying to prove that they did the right choice. Sorry about that thing around here. So yeah, you know what I mean. Like that's good for him getting the start over there at Pittsburgh and showing that he earned the spot. Now we got Gus the Bus Edwards over here at the Baltimore Ravens. Final of 34-20 versus Cincinnati. Cincinnati also, losing Joe Burrow and all that situation in that game. So they went 12 attempts, 62 yards, 5.2 yard average, 2 touchdowns on the ground, 2 targets for 2 receptions and 8 yards. It gets you an even 20 half PPR points per on the game. Then we got Devin Singletary over here at Houston. Another waiver wire pickup from last week. I think we were calling on this guy and the week before. So he ends up the day with a 21-16 over Arizona over here. At 22 attempts at 112 yards, 5.1 yard average, and a touchdown. 2 targets, 2 receptions, 6 yards. I mean, the 22 attempts alone should you have you more than
30
happy
attempts
there.
last week. Yeah, 30 for
week.
150 last week. Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Too bad I didn't get this guy, man. It's too late for that. 18.8 half PPR fantasy points on the day. And then finally, your guy, Christian McCaffrey, here coming in at the RB5, 27-14 against Tampa Bay, 21 attempts, 78 yards, 3.7 yard average. Got 5 receptions for 5 yards and 5 targets, 5 receptions, 25 yards, 1 touchdown in the air, 18.8 fantasy points on the day. So you're going to get game ball 2 on this one. Don't tell me it's going to be McCaffrey, even though he's number 5.
I was going to go for it too, because did you see the touchdown design on that play that he scored? They put him in a bump motion in the backfield, bump motion out to the left on the snap. I know you didn't watch it. That's why I'm explaining it for you. A bump motion to the left. He's rolling out, gets the guy to take him out this way. On the snap, just beelines it. You got everyone clearing all the routes to this side, just opening up the whole right side of the field. Basically a natural pick play. The defender just gets caught up in everything. And Christian McCaffrey just wide open in the flat from the left side in a bump motion to the left out of the backfield, and then scores on the right side. I mean, and he cut through the line. He didn't go out or around or through and then an out route, just literally a crossing route, just straight through the center guard gap. It was one of the most incredible play designs I've seen. They said they've ran it before. I don't remember noticing it. But it was a great play. I just had to mention that in a correction from earlier. I thought I said 16 carries, but it was 21 carries for 78 yards, which just showing that Bucs defense is pretty tough when we were talking about that earlier. I thought it was less, held them to a 3.7 yard average, which pretty pedestrian for McCaffrey. Yeah. But for this one, man, I'm going to have to give it to Jalen Warren, man. The guy I've been talking about, granted, a lot of his production came on that one big run, and other than that, he really only got 9 carries. So besides that one big run, was only 8 carries after that. But again, who's to say he wouldn't have got the ball 5 more times on that drive if he didn't bust the big run? So those numbers could have looked maybe a little better. 13 carries for the same yardage and the same touchdown. So it just depends on how you want to read into that. But for me, it's the guy that I was saying the whole time in your trades. If you need that extra piece to kind of make it even, see if you can get Jalen Warren. For weeks I was saying that, and so it's nice to see him finally paying off here and hopefully moving forward, which should always be in pretty decent, game script with their defense that they have. And Kenny Pickett can't throw the ball like farther than like 10, 15 yards down the field. So I'd like to see more targets, of course, and more production in the passing game. But of course, having a guy that can hit home runs like that, a 71-yard touchdown, those are the guys you want in your lineup any given week. So Jaylen Warren, you're going to get my game ball, my guy.
Nice. Well, I'm going to go with Devin Singletary here. Used to be on the Bills, comes over to Houston. Last 2 games, like you mentioned, he had 30 attempts last week, 22 attempts this week, and he's making the most of his opportunities. And definitely, taking over the spot over there, showing he could carry the load. I don't think they're going to go back away from him anymore. So I think he's, a definitely winner. So hopefully he gets the win to take the job and keep it. Because he's
Yeah,
always
we'll
been in
see.
a black split, a split backfield or like sharing. You know what I mean?
Yeah,
So hopefully they feature him because he's, they have definitely 30 and 22 is a feature role, right? So hopefully that keeps happening for him over there. So I think he's definitely a winner over there.
there you go. All right, let's move on to
In
wide
Houston.
receivers. We're doing good on time here.
Yeah. So let's get over the wide receivers. You got Calvin Ridley. Again, this is half point PPR for wide receiver scoring as well. He Calvin Ridley to the number 1 spot. Another get right game for somebody here. We already had him on the bench, just just like we were talking about with the quarterback over here in Trevor Lawrence sitting on the right in the pine. But that's all right. I guess it's just Jacksonville's time to get right too. The final 34-14 versus Tennessee. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 103 yards, and 2 TDs. One rushing attempt for 18 yards. Ends up the day for 27.6 half PPR fantasy points. Wide receiver number 1 here at Kevin. Number 2 here's Tyreek Hill. Ends up going 20-13 final overtime versus Vegas. Tight game, tough game over there, man.
They didn't go in
Vegas.
overtime, did they?
No, they didn't go overtime. There's just tough game over there, the Vegas, and the defense is pretty solid over there, man. I'm telling you.
Yeah, Antonio
They
Pierce
were,
makes a big difference from Josh McDaniels. I'm telling you.
yeah.
Josh
You got
McDaniels is trash. No
yeah,
offense.
11 targets, 10 receptions, 146 yards, and a touchdown.
Wide
Um,
receiver 1.
yeah, exactly. 25.6 fantasy points on the day. Then you got Tank Dell blowing up still. This guy's on fire. You to get him on your team.
Mm-hmm.
Too late for that though. He
Yeah,
ended up going 21-16 against Arizona. They take the win. 10 targets, 8 receptions, 149 yards, and a touchdown. I forgot what they called him
beautiful
though.
touchdown pass. A beautiful
Yeah,
pass from CJ Stroud.
yeah,
Great catch. All 5'8" of them
yeah,
going up for
exactly.
that catch. Oh man, this
As
is
I say,
beautiful.
small guy,
He
but
looks
he gets
6'3"
it
on
done.
that one.
Yeah,
Beautiful.
definitely just a baller, man. That guy's a baller. He's been showing it. Like now he's hitting his stride right here. And so is CJ Stroud. So it helps to have a good quarterback throwing at you. Brandon
Mm-hmm.
Ayuk here, wide receiver 4 again with that long pass that he passing touchdown he got it today.
Mm-hmm.
6 targets, 5 receptions, 156 yards, and a touchdown. 24.1 fantasy half PPR fantasy points on the day. And the last wide receiver number 5, my guy Keenan Allen.
And
They
my
ended up,
guy,
he ended up going
our guy.
22-20. Green Bay did come back to beat the Chargers, but he got 16 targets, 10 receptions,
Ooh.
116 yards, and a touchdown. So 22.6 fantasy points. I mean, that's a lot of targets right there. So yeah, that'll
Yeah.
help you out
He
here.
killed it even more in PPR, full PPR.
Exactly. Who's your game ball here too? On this
I mean, I wanted to give it to Tank Dell, but how do I not give it to my boy Brandon Ayuk with a career day? His first
This guy.
156-yard day, man. Gets the longest touchdown in the NFL this year for the season so far at 76 yards. Dude just seems to always be open. Did have a bad holding penalty, but they went right back to him on the very next play. Made a nice chunk 20+ yard catch to keep them rolling there. So Brandon Ayuk, man, career day. You're getting my game ball, and you're my Niner brethren. So it's hard to not see that someone else did it better. But it was very if Ayuk wasn't there, it for sure would have been Tank Dell. So I mean, Keenan Allen, I've given him like 4 or 5 game balls for just single-handedly winning me leagues, him and Herbert this year. Or winning weeks, not the league yet. I'm hoping so. But yeah, so Brandon Ayuk, you get the game ball, my guy.
Nice.
Who you got?
I'm gonna go with Tank Dell since you had skipped on him. I mean, his
All right.
performance.
I left him there for you.
You know what I mean? Low hanging fruit. The guys, getting being part of the core of the offense over there with Houston. And they're putting some things together over there. They might make playoffs and whatnot. So, um, the guy's going 8 for 10 this week, 149 yards. A week and a half ago, he went 6 for 11, 114 yards and 2 touchdowns. He's had a touchdown at least once, one touchdown in the last 3 games. So he's putting things together over there. And pretty decent schedule coming up. So in the playoffs, he's got Tennessee, Cleveland, and Tennessee. So it's rough with the Cleveland thing, but 2 decent games against Tennessee, so it wouldn't be so bad.
Pass
Um,
funnel 2
yeah,
defenses, so you should have
yeah,
2 big games for you.
yeah, exactly. So definitely a guy that I like. All right. So
Tight ends.
lastly, we got the tight ends here for the day. Um, and then we could get into your waiver wire ads here for the week. Half
Mhm.
point PPR. We got George Kittle, your guy here. 9 targets, 8 receptions, 89 yards, a touchdown, 18.9 fantasy points on the day. Um, is putting up solid numbers here. So I think it's like three touchdowns in the past 2-3 weeks or whatnot. So I have to look at the numbers again. Josh Oliver coming out of nowhere here. The tight end number 2 in Minnesota. He got 4 targets, 4 receptions, 47 yards, and a touchdown. 12.6 fantasy, half PPR fantasy points. Then we got tried and true tested Travis Kelsey over here. Did get his touchdown in tonight's game. 9 targets, 7 receptions, 44 yards, and a touchdown. He a lot better faring than last week. I think he only had 1 look last week, so more of a get right game for himself as well. Stone Smart, another guy coming out of nowhere, out of the Chargers here. 3 targets, 1 reception, 51 yards, and a touchdown. Because I mean, that's really what happens over here. Some of these guys just get a touchdown. They get up in here for the tight ends. 11.6 fantasy points, and then finally Dalton Schultz over here at Houston, who's been again another guy putting up solid numbers week in week out now over there at Houston. So 3 targets, 2 receptions, 32 yards, and a touchdown. 10.2 fantasy points on the day on that. So those are your tight ends. And I'm sure you're taking Kittle on this one, right?
You betcha. And I was gonna go with McCaffrey for just to get all the Niners in the top 5 here, and give all my game ball out to the Niners, but I had to veer on my McCaffrey one since he only finished at RB5. But if he was RB1 or RB2 and had like a 2 touchdown game,
Yeah.
it for sure would have been a clean sweep with Niner game balls all up in this episode. But I've given out several to McCaffrey so far this year, so I'll give it to my boy Warren this time. But yeah, clean sweep for my Niners on all the other positions. So game ball to the Niners. Well done, guys. Who
Well,
you
I'll just
got?
keep it. I think Schultz, man. Schultz is the winner, dude. He left Dallas. He's over here at Houston. It took him a little while to get kind of straightened out, but he's been putting up some decent fantasy numbers as of late. And
Started
I
slow, but been coming
Yeah,
on. Yeah,
yeah, exactly. Now he's coming on. I think the whole team's clicking better now. You know what I mean? Like, I
yeah.
think everybody kind of got comfortable with themselves and each other and each other's gameplay, because they were all pretty new to themselves. As a team, like chemistry as a whole. So I think they're just gelling right, timing's right, everything's kind of go clicking over there. And I wouldn't be worried starting him week in and week out. So I think he's a game ball candidate here.
There you go. All right, so that wraps up our weekly top performers, week 11 top performers and game balls. So let's get into the chat here for just a second, and then we'll finish up with our top waiver wire ads. So we had, I think, where were we at? Let me scroll back up to where we were.
I know where we're at.
I was going to say, I think it was Conrad here. So he said Pollard's his only startable running back right now. He said, I'm being offered Pollard for Javante, Pacheco, and Charbonnet. Are you trading Pollard for those 3 running backs? My question is, no way.
So wait. Oh, I guess the way he said it is I'm being offered Pollard, but he says Pollard is my only startable running back right now.
Oh, maybe I read that wrong then. If you're gonna get all, I want the 3 running backs. So regardless of who's getting what, or if you're offering or not
Just to be
offering,
clear on that, because
yeah,
it was
like I
very
want the 3
confusing.
running
Did you
backs.
reread
Yeah,
that? So I was like, I read that and I was like, I don't think you meant to say that. But Anthony says he'll take the 3 running backs and Javante, Pacheco, and Charbonnet. And I think I would too. Javante's doing very decent. I think you could be happy with his numbers as well as Pacheco has been the clear number 1 for KC. And Zach Charbonnet just moved into a very nice position there.
if K9
If
is
it
out,
is out, even if not, I think he's earned an RB2 spot at
low
least.
and flexible
Yeah, yeah.
to me.
So and
But yeah,
he's
not a
definitely
bad handcuff to still
one
own.
injury
Yeah,
away to be a starter. So
yeah,
with
that
those,
oblique could get re-injured real quick
yeah,
again.
exactly. So I mean, getting 2 decent guys out of Javante and Pacheco and Charbonnet is the cherry on the top just to get out for Pollard. I would take that all day.
For sure. Get some depth there, especially heading into the playoffs.
Yeah.
It says, I'm also being offered my Devonta Smith. So I like how he said this one. So his Devonta Smith, or my, as in Conrad's Devonta Smith
You
for
get
the other guys, Josh Jacobs. He said he can lose Smith because he's deep at wide receiver. So if you
keep
can
saying it
get,
backward. You gotta say it the other way, bro. I'm just gonna tell you, I'm being offered Josh Jacobs for my Devontae Smith.
yeah, there you go. I was trying to be clear,
Yeah,
but when I
no, I
started
just want
saying
to help him
my
out.
and his, and then
Yeah,
his got
yeah, that's
twice,
so
and
you made it even more.
messed me up. Yeah, kind of messed up the other guy. But yeah, so Devonta Smith for Josh Jacobs. I'll take Josh Jacobs there. Now I wouldn't do both trades. Like I think I'd rather have Pollard and Josh Jacobs as my 2 running backs versus Jacobs. No, I think I'd still want Jacobs, Javante. I'd want those 4 running backs as long as your roster
He
allows
does
you to
say
do that.
his wide receivers are solid at I'm deep at wide receiver. He says.
Yeah, so the Smith part doesn't matter. So yeah, if you can walk out of that trade and go from having Pollard to having Jacobs,
He says, "Oh yeah, I like
um,
the Jacobs straight. I hope he doesn't back out of it." Well, go click
yeah,
that like button.
for
Accept.
sure. So Javante, Pacheco, Charbonnet, and Josh Jacobs to me is much better than just Tony Pollard. So or Tony Pollard and Devonta Smith. So in essence, he's trading Tony Pollard and Devonta Smith for Josh Jacobs, Pacheco, Javante, and
He says,
Sharps
"Yeah, but Aaron Jones was my other running back, so I had to make a move before
for
deadline."
sure.
I would definitely do that because you do have a Aaron Jones with an injury right now, so that way he gives you all that depth that Anthony was mentioning. So you should definitely move on Pollard to get those 3 guys.
For sure. And you see what he
Definitely.
says here too? So he says
Yeah.
if those trades go through, he's then thinking of packaging Sharb and Puka for an upgrade at wide receiver if all those other trades go through.
Oh
So I
no,
like that thought process
trade
as well
monster in
too.
it.
And then
Get it,
just kind of
get it.
dial in your lineup there. So absolutely, that's how you do it, man. So there you go.
Oh look, Ron is actually asked me something.
This is
Uh,
just talking shit in
would
our
you trade
ambassador league.
Devin Singletary for Carbs? Oh,
Now this
oh,
this was before this was when Singletary was first starting and we didn't know what his role was going to be and hadn't done anything.
yeah,
And Sharps was an afterthought, not getting any touches at the time, but
yeah,
still had the potential as a high-end handcuff. So
yeah.
I shot it down at the time, which is why he's just trying to ask you. He probably didn't want me to tell you all that, but I'm gonna, for the sake
No.
of time, let you know that it's not like right now today, like he's trying to lead it on to believe.
Yeah.
Um,
This is
but
after hindsight being 2020, right? Type thing.
exactly, yeah.
Yeah.
Um, so let's see. So we have Nino Pina in here. What's up, man? How's it going? Welcome back. He says he got offered Justin Jefferson for Cup and Singletary. Any thoughts? That's a tough one. I don't mind moving away from Cup, Singletary if you really need a running back. But I'd like
So
to
you
take
got
the
us
upside with
offered
Justin
Justin
Jefferson.
Jefferson for Cup and Singletary.
Yeah, just which side would you rather have? It's just the easiest way to answer these. Do you like the
Oh,
Justin
so he's
Jefferson side or the Cup and Singletary side?
so he's gonna get Jetta, but he's gonna lose Cup and Singletary.
Right. We probably picked up off the
Cup just
waiver.
got that
Cup
ankle
just
situation going
ankle
again right
issue.
now.
Yeah.
Singletary's on
Jefferson
fire.
possibly coming
Jefferson
back.
should be maybe possibly coming back in 2 weeks.
Missing up to at least 2
In
more
2
games.
weeks, I wouldn't do it.
That's tough. I'm go big or go home. If I have the depth there to do it, assuming you picked up Singletary just kind of like off the wire and you're still okay at running back, and you're looking, you can get by with
The only
the Cup
saving
being
grace
out.
you got with Jett is you got Dobbs over there throwing the ball, so that dude's fine.
Yeah, he's not going to be where he was with Kirk Cousins, but he should still be a top, option. I don't think he's any worse than like Cup with Stafford this year because Stafford can't throw more than 2 touchdowns in a game. So I'll take my chances with Jay Jetta there. And not to mention, by the time he's going to be active again, you won't be able to trade. I'm sure most trade deadlines would be back by then. But I'd give it a shot.
His mention. I got Amon-Ra, Pittman, and Cup, Bijan, Brees, and Gibbs at running back.
Yeah, so he's good at running back. Brees, Gibbs, Amon-Ra, Pittman. Yeah, if it's just 2 wide receiver and you're not, you just have to start 2 of them, like Amon-Ra and Pittman. I think I'm still okay with that. We got the Colts coming off a bye now. Amon-Ra is going to be good as your wide receiver 1. I'd take the chance with JJ to see what happens there. Could be a league-winning move for you there. I don't think you're giving up too much there with Singletary's not going to see your lineup anyway. He's your RB4 at best out of those with those other 3. And, Cup I think is better than Pittman, but I don't think it's too crazy of a difference considering you can get JJ who could blow up and be crazy. So, or at worst be like a low-end wide receiver too. So, I mean, look what Addison's doing. He's putting up decent numbers and they're going to score in that offense. So, yeah, if it was me, I'd personally take the chance on him, but that's just me.
So we got a question here kind of from Recon. I'm not sure if it seems to be a question at the end of it. So man, having Jones injured is brutal. Have T-Law and Fields, Jones and Mixon, Jettas, Puka, Nico, DJ Moore, Ferguson, and Waller. Have no backup RBs and nobody on waivers is good besides I think
Dalvin Cook and Savon Ahmed.
Okay, Dalvin Cook and Ahmed. He says, "What do I do? Nobody is trading."
I mean, you got to probably. I mean, they're probably going to activate Wilson if Achan's there. Yeah, you might have to just really throw an offer out there. Maybe go to the Burrow owner and see if you might be able to get a piece for T-Law or Fields. Trade off one of those quarterbacks again, unless it's super flex, but I assume it's 1 QB there because you can probably find a decent replacement QB at this point, like Sam Howell or someone like that you can throw in for a week if you really need to. If Fields or T-Law were to get hurt or something,
T-Law's down. They're done with the bias, so you could at least be happy about that.
And you can at least sell, T-Law high coming off, QB1 performance this week with his upside, especially going to that Burrow owner. Going to that Deshaun Watson potential owner there. There's somebody that's going to need a quarterback in your league, I'm sure. Unless it's like a 10-man, that'd be probably a little tough. But if it's a 12-person league, I know he says no one's trading, but you got to try to throw someone out there. Don't expect to get anything crazy. You might have to be looking at someone's like RB2, RB3 at the best case scenario. You might have to get like a Javonte Williams or like, someone like that. But yeah, I mean, you got to try it. Otherwise, if those are literally your only 2 options,
on the waiver wire, or you were sleeping on them.
No, it's Cook and Ahmed. Really, those are no better than really anybody else. So
he was sleeping on the waiver wires then.
Yeah, could have had somebody out there in these last couple weeks. But yeah, I mean, maybe go buy Devin Singletary or Damian Pierce. Maybe you can get for cheap just in case he comes back in. At least it's a split backfield. Probably Singletary would be the better side of that. So that's kind of what I would try to do is look for someone's at least RB3 because that's better than Ahmed or, whoever there. And I think the best asset you have is getting rid of one of those quarterbacks or, you have Waller, so he's not playing the rest of this year. So you got Ferguson, so you can't get rid of one of the tight ends. So yeah, you're going to have to give away T-Law or Fields and just try to get like RB2 if you can. And if not, settle for a high in RB3. So maybe even someone like Najee you can get now that Warren kind of went off. Maybe something happens and Najee gets the job back, or it's more just like a 50-50 split. Like those are the type of guys I'd be kind of looking at that would be tradable at this point. So good luck to you. But yeah, sometimes, man, you can do everything right and still everything else goes wrong with injuries. Again, I have one team like that in our ambassador league. Just lost Burrow and just all year Chubb, like JK, like everyone. I just lost everyone, and nothing you can do to recover.
Yeah,
You know,
you
you
can only
try to
take
play the
so many
waiver wire
hits.
game,
It only takes so many hits
but
before
yeah,
it's
once
like
it happens, like you have no chance. So you know, I was sitting at like 2-8 or something coming in this week, and now 2-9. So like I'm literally mathematically eliminated. So nothing you can do.
I'm gonna move it on down to Brooks here.
Go ahead.
Brooks said, "What up? What up? What up?
What
Pick
up?
a tight end for next week: Laporta or McBride."
Ooh, I think I like what I see going on with McBride. We talked about Laporta playing at home here on Thanksgiving against the Green Bay. Goff at home, you know, could have a connection. But right now, Kyler's really only kind of throwing to McBride. I don't think, I mean, he didn't make the top 5 tight ends this week. So what did
No, he
McBride do
went
this week?
5 of 7 for 43 yards.
Still got 5 catches, 43. That's like what, 9 point something full PPR points.
Let me go full.
Um,
Hold on,
just doing the 5 plus the
9.3.
43. Yeah, 9.3 is real easy calculation there. Laporta, it's just Laporta has ups and downs. We've seen his high, we've seen his lows. I think McBride probably has a steadier floor. Not as much other competition. His only other competition really there is Hollywood Brown, who did nothing again for the second week in a row with Kyler back. And, you know, Rondell Moore had that big touchdown and then like didn't even get a target after that for whatever reason. Played like all but like 5 snaps, and then, you know, for whatever reason, Greg Dortch like got like 12 targets and didn't really do too much with it. But yeah, I think I'd take my chances with McBride depending on who they're playing. Who are they playing? Cease.
Oh, you
Why are you
made
in
me
here?
move away from it. I was looking at Laporta. They're playing Green Bay.
Yeah, the Porter's Green. I knew that one already because we talked about it earlier. Week 12, they're playing against the Rams, at home against the Rams. Yeah, I think I'd take my chances with McBride there,
Yeah, I'd say for this next week, yeah. Why
just
not?
for this next week. Like, if I had like, this is why I don't. This is why I only carry like one tight end for the most part because I'm just throwing whoever I have in there unless they get hurt or on a bye week. So I don't
For
have
sure,
to
for sure.
have these choices.
All right, let's get to the
Um,
waiver wire ads here.
all right, let's do it.
So who
So
do you
he says
got for
thinks he's
top
gonna ride
5?
with McBride.
Who you gonna ride with here?
All right,
QB.
so let's
I
let me
think we should.
switch this over. QB
Yeah,
Waiver Wire Adds.
there we go.
All right.
Nice.
So my first QB waiver wire ad that I have here, and this is more for like super flex or 2 QB leagues. You got Jake Browning, of course, replacing Joe Burrow.
Joe Burrow.
You have Tim Boyle named the starter over there with the Jets, replacing Zach Wilson. And then, of course, Desmond Ritter coming back, getting his job back versus, or not versus, but from Taylor Heineke. I think Ritter probably has the best upside out of these 3 guys. I mean, maybe you could say Browning after a full week of practice because he has good weapons with Chase. Maybe Higgins comes back. Just kind of a little overall better offense there. Ritter kind of has that, you know, kind of rushing upside as long as he doesn't fumble all his opportunities away. But again, these are just kind of more low end, low end QB2s, QB3s in super flex leagues. And then, of course, DTR, Dorian Thompson Robinson over there with Cleveland. Just someone to take a look at that could be available. I didn't even look up the roster percentages because it's not really that important.
Yeah, they're not. I mean, these are for deeper leagues, or
Yeah.
you're the guy that had some QB trouble like myself, where I had uh you know quarterbacks go down for the season. That's that. So you got even DeVito here at the end that I gave the game ball to earlier too. He's a decent guy to be adding if you need super flex and cheap QB leagues where you're just deeper
Just
leagues where
need
you're in
somebody.
trouble.
Yeah.
If you're in trouble, you need somebody. These are the guys that are probably going to be out there. I don't think anybody else is really that much available or
Yeah,
low.
with all the other injuries
Yeah,
now, like even your Sam Howells and
yeah,
your
Cubs
all
and
those
Sam
guys
Howells
are
have been picked up
rostered.
already.
Yeah,
Yeah, exactly. People are
and people are
holding
holding
on
on
to
to
them.
him.
Yeah, exactly. They're holding on to them just as backup.
Yeah,
So
like
those are
I've
just
even
some
said,
options.
I'm trying to hold 2 QBs at this point because it's getting rough out there. So
Yeah, should
yeah,
you have somebody go down, you need that other guy, and there's nobody out there to go be had. So good luck with that.
Oh, Dobbs was the other number person I was saying, but like even he's 71% owned now too, so he's over that 65% that we have. So yeah, your Dobbses, your Sam Howells, those guys are gone.
Okay. Yeah.
All right, so let's move on. Running back position.
Running backs.
Top waiver wire ads. Probably the top waiver wire ad this week is most likely going to be Zach Charbonnet. Coming in for the injured Ken Walker, but again, he hasn't been ruled out Wednesday, so just keep your ear out. If you get any kind of news tomorrow, given that they do play on Thursday, hopefully you get a little more info tomorrow. By the time you have to put in your waiver claims tomorrow night. Currently 51% owned on Sleeper, 45% on Yahoo. Again, did have 15 carries for 47 yards, 6 catches on 6 targets for only 22 yards, but you like the receptions, especially in a full PPR. Again, going up against the Niners here this week, I don't think it's too bad of a matchup because he is more the receiving back, and as we saw with Rachaad White, could still have a decent game if he's getting the majority of the touches there. Edmonds was mixed into the game there with White, and White still had a decent game against the Niners. He's, to me, probably the number one waiver wire ad this week. And if you're in, what's his name situation up there that is literally, had Aaron Jones go down and, no one else is really out there, if you can get Sharps, with K9 being down, or even if you need to flex him as a standalone, that could be a good option for you. Another running back I have that you want to keep your eye on is going to be Ty Chandler. He finished as the running back 16 this week, Minnesota running back. Madison was active this week and did get the majority of the work. He looked decent running over there. Ty Chandler did still finish though with 13.5 PPR points. He did have 10 carries for 73 yards. One of those carries went for 35 yards, which was that fake punt. So it wasn't necessarily like a rush from the backfield as far as like having the offense on the field. So it was a fake punt. So do with that what you will. But you like to see the 4 catches for 37 yards there. Again, if anything were to happen to Madison, who was coming off that concussion, he should be in line and looked good, running, just from what you saw there Sunday night. So then you have, of course, AJ Dillon filling in for the injured Aaron Jones. 14 carries, 29 yards, but we've kind of seen this show already. 4 catches for 32 yards. Finish as the RB 24 this week with only 8.1 half PPR points. Just kind of goes to show you that those running backs, even as that RB 24 in a 12-person league, that last RB 2 that's out there is only putting up 8.1 points. Just need something decent, in that RB 2 spot to kind of be competitive there. You just hope you have a good RB 1 in there. AJ Dillon, I'm sure is going to be a hot ad if he's available. I didn't quite get his roster percentage, but I just forgot it. I guess I had the space here like I was going to do it and got sidetracked with something else. Good old ADD. But yeah. So I'll look that up. You have any other running backs you want to mention while I look that up?
There's nobody else out there. AJ Jones, 62% Yahoo, 60% ESPN. I didn't check the sleeper.
60% sleeper. I got you. Perfect.
So there you go. He's in the 60% range. So he's kind of highly owned, but not always started. And just now with the injury, he's definitely worth another look at. I think a lot of people had him as a handcuff, and that's why they're holding on to him. So yeah, we like him. Give him a shot. He's been playing better as of recently.
Yeah, and friend of the show, of course. So we're always rooting for him, if you guys haven't checked out the intro. So there you are. Let's move on to wide receivers.
Wide receivers here. Yeah.
Wide receivers I have a couple here. We have Jaden Reed. He finished as a wide receiver 11 this week. Had a couple decent weeks here. 4 catches, 46 yards. Had 3 carries for 46 yards and a touchdown. So he's been used, in different ways, a little Debo Light type rule. 42% owned on Sleeper, 36% on Yahoo. The Packers kind of going up and down, but if you need some depth there at wide receiver, which, no team's on a bye this week, so you should have your full arsenal available. Just if you're dealing with some, injuries, maybe you need to pick him up. He's out there, so keep an eye on him. Kind of Dobbs and even Dontavian Wicks, they're all kind of putting up some points every once in a while, but then they can dud out on you.
It's inconsistent. I think he's been more consistent than the other 2 guys, though.
Right,
and that's why I have him. Now with Watson now injured in and out all the time, and Dobbs,
Finally
was
caught a
it
touchdown this
recently?
week
Yeah,
too.
yeah, exactly. So it's just
Everybody
um,
sat him, just like
uh,
Ridley.
yeah,
Or
and
dropped
that's why
him,
I like Reed better. He's been more consistent for Green Bay throughout the week in, week out, I think.
for sure. And, so yeah, so, you also have, Khalil Shakir, who I mentioned earlier, has really been balling since, Knox has been out. He's only 21% owned on Sleeper, 11% on Yahoo, put up 19 half PPR fantasy points this week, 3 catches, 115 yards, and a touchdown. Obviously, a lot of that came on that 81-yard touchdown. So again, he can pop off being attached to Josh Allen in any given week, especially with, Diggs being down, but it's only gonna take a couple more outbursts from Diggs, and I'm sure he'll have like a 15 target game here soon, which is probably the only thing you have to worry about with Shakir. If you are throwing him in your lineup, just understand he's a boomer bust guy. But I do like him over like Gabe Davis in that same offense right now, as far as potential consistency. And then another guy I have, Demario Douglas, might be kind of forgotten. Maybe he was dropped. I know I had to drop him in one league, dealing with some bye weeks and guys coming off IR. Had to open up a roster spot. I had to drop him and in the hopes of trying to get him back here this week, if I can, just because I was filling some bye weeks and he's coming off his bye. 45% owned on Sleeper, 30%, 33% on Yahoo. So Demario Douglas, there in New England. Not sure who the quarterback's quite going to be. They haven't named it, whether it's going to be Zappy or Mac Jones. But either way, he's really the only healthy and able kind of wide receiver over there right now. They seem to be throwing him the ball, whoever's out there. So there you go. You got any wide receivers you want to add to that?
I want to put on here Rondell Moore out of Arizona. Last week he was 5 of 8 for 43 yards. This week he only got one catch, but he did take it to the house, 48 yards on that one. And I just think he's going to be improving over here with Arizona little by little. So I think he's definitely worth at least a stash here. If not a spot start if you're so inclined and need to.
There we go. You got anybody else you want to add on that?
No, we're good. We're good. There's not much in waiver wire this
Mm.
weekend. It's getting slim pickings.
And we're
These
at the
guys
end of
have
the
not.
year.
Yeah,
A lot of injuries already. Guys
yeah,
are already rostered. So yeah, it's hard to find people that are going to be that you at least even feel comfortable with. Even putting on your team at this point. You either know who they are by now, or the secret's already out. So you're not. No one's really sneaking up on anyone at this point. It's just kind
yeah.
of
No,
filling
it's
in
too
for
late now.
injuries.
Yeah, exactly. Now it's
Yeah.
just injuries
And again,
for
tight end
sure.
position, the only one really is filling in that Mark Andrews injury with Isaiah Likely.
Yeah,
But I've kind of heard, a lot of people are leaning more towards maybe like OBJ, as maybe getting more of those targets. I think he did see 10 targets. He was a little banged up though. I think with his shoulder, kind of got tackled awkwardly. I don't think he finished the game,
I don't think
but
you
there
go
was a
wrong with
blowout at that
Isaiah
point.
Likely though. I don't think you go wrong with Likely.
Yeah, last year he was a plug and play while Andrews is out, so
Yeah,
maybe they just didn't have him kind of written into the game script this week. But maybe they'll do more stuff this upcoming week. So
yeah.
and they get the kind of mini bye week, having played last Thursday. So that's really the only tight end I have. Do you have any other tight ends you want to mention? I mean, even guys we have on the top 5, I'm not like rushing out to pick them up. So
No, there's a couple guys that just popped up on the top 5 that are like you could.
just
Those are just
that's what
that
I'm
one
saying. Just
guy that I
literally
got. Yeah.
throw a freaking tight end in there every week if you need to, and you have a chance
I
of them
mean,
being top
last
5.
week you mentioned Luke Musgrave, I think, and that was it. I mean, there's if there's somebody out there you could be, trying to throw in
Maybe,
there as a flex or your tight end spot that you need, then you already got him. If not, the guy's already been
mm.
taken already at this point.
And
Like
we
we're
saw
talking.
we saw none of the Eagles replacements for Goddard are worth carrying,
With
so they're not
nothing,
on
yeah.
there.
Don't even bother
So yeah,
picking up those
maybe
guys.
maybe Cade Otton. I don't know exactly what his roster percentage is, but maybe if you're hurting, you can look at Cade Otton. I know Mike's been talking about him the last couple weeks. He dropped a big time touchdown that could have helped out.
Yeah, he's
And
20 and 26, 20% Yahoo, 26 ESPN.
26 on Sleeper as well. So he could be out there just to try to throw some extra names out there for you guys. I hate
Yeah.
to just give you guys one name. So those are some guys you can look at. So let's get back to the chat here, and we'll finish it up. Get out of here before 2 hours. That'll be nice.
Yeah. So we got the last one here because he says, "Hey y'all skip my question."
Oh, did we? Did you skip his question?
LeBron says, "Yo, trade T Law or Sutton or Logan Thomas for Justin Herbert." How are you going to trade
Uh,
over Thomas for Justin? Who's going to just give you Justin Herbert like that? But I would trade T-Law, Sutton, or oh, so you're saying T-Law with Sutton or Logan? Oh, okay. So I see what you're saying. I would say T-Law and Logan Thomas
I
for
mean,
Herbert.
Logan Thomas, if you can, you
That
want
way
to
you
keep
can keep
Sutton.
Sutton, but if you
If you can
can't,
make that happen,
then get rid of both
as
T-Law and
having
Sutton
several
for Herbert.
Justin Herbert shares, there's no way I'm trading. I wouldn't even trade Herbert for all three of those
Three of
guys
those
as a
guys.
Herbert owner.
So if you could somehow pull this trade off
But if
with
you can
two
pull
of
it
those
off,
guys,
for sure.
then go do that.
For sure. One or the other, or all three if you really need to.
This is
But yeah.
trade Chase with Sutton or Waddle for Eckler.
That I like a little better. Chase and Sutton possibly for Eckler. I mean, you can buy low probably on Eckler right now. You know, he's coming off a bad game.
Yeah.
If you can turn him in, you know, get a running back, you know, out of that, as long as you're still deep, you know, at wide receiver. Otherwise, I don't think Browning will be too bad with Chase. Like, you're not going to get the complete upside. He's not going to be the wide receiver 2 overall. You know, with Browning there without Burrow, but after a week with Browning, he's going to know. Just, I mean, if he's smart, he'd throw the ball to him like 12 to 15 times, especially if there's no T Higgins. They'll just adjust, you know, the route tree that Chase is going to run. Maybe they work some more screens, easier throws, slants, stuff like that. Probably not going to get those, you know, down the field targets. Maybe they'll take 1 or 2 shots, you know, with him. But if they just, you know, which should be good, like in a half or full PPR league, if those that A dot is, you know, a lot closer or a lot smaller, and still targeting Chase. Again, there's no one else there if Higgins is still out. So, I'm not all for just trading Chase at this point. I would try to see if I can go Sutton and Waddle for Eckler before I'd go Chase and Sutton or Chase and Waddle for Eckler.
Yeah.
But
And
yeah,
the last one here coming up for Fu Yang. Thoughts on Tutu rest of the season? Is he saying Tutu
yeah,
Atwell?
yeah. So I mean, with
Done?
Cup and with Cup and Nakua
Puka?
kind of banged up right now. Not a bad ad. Maybe we should have had him here on the waiver wire list. Just a little foreshadowing if those guys were to miss a week. You know, Nakua more so, I think, is more good to go than potentially Cup. Like they may hold Cup out a week just to make sure he's good.
Which would benefit Tutu, yeah.
Yeah, which could
Tutu.
benefit Tutu and Nakua, and we've seen that happen already with Tutu's numbers with Cup out.
And he is
That's a
saying,
good call.
Reed or Dibs.
Reed or Dobbs. I'm
I'm
probably
taking Reed.
going. Yeah, I think Reed right now. Beforehand, I would say Dobbs, but they're kind of putting on, you know, very similar numbers. I kind of like both of them.
I just feel Reed's more consistent. He's been more consistent throughout the year than Dubs.
Yeah. I just want to look up his game history here, half PPR. So yeah, I mean Dobbs has still been decent. I mean he still went 5 for 53 and a touchdown. I mean he scored 4 touchdowns in the last 5 games. Dobbs has. He's playing a good percentage of the snaps, although it was kind of down this last week, 68% of the snaps versus 80+% the previous 4 games, but still got that touchdown. Um, I mean he's only had 2 games like 5 points or less in half PPR. Or I'm sorry, 3. Yeah, that game against the Raiders where he only scored 0.9. Everything else basically, I mean, he has a 9.8 game here, but everything else is basically double digits. Doesn't have crazy high ceiling like the most he scored this year, 16 week 1.
Yeah.
But everything else is between 10, you know, and 15
So
points
long
per
story
game.
short, you like Dubs a little bit better than Reed.
Just more consistency, but I think Reed, you know, he's kind of more hot right now, so to speak.
So
And
he's also finishing out the question: is he dropping Terry?
McLaurin? Scary Terry? Nah. That was just a weird little matchup against the Giants. Scary Terry's fine.
Yeah. There you go.
He's fine. Um Yeah, like I'm looking at Jaden Reed's. I still think I like Dobbs a little better than Reed. But he has 2 17-point half PPR games versus Dobbs only have 1 16-point game. So he's had 2 games scoring higher, a little more yardage, a little higher A dot, but they're both kind of, you know, Dobbs is more the touchdown guy if you're looking for some touchdown upside. So maybe in like half or standard, I'd lean Dobbs. And if you need a little more targets and catches potentially, maybe you go Reed. And he's a little hotter right now. So if you're projecting that going forward, then go Reed. Who else we got?
And I like him because he's like a dual threat. He scored that touchdown as a rushing, not receiving. So
Yeah,
gives you some upside there for having Reed. I think that's just my opinion. And that's it,
for
man.
sure.
We're done for the night. Thanks. He said sorry for coming on late. And that's all good. We're still
No,
here. But
absolutely.
we are going to wrap up the show for the night. Smoking the Cat saying see you Wednesday. So yeah, well, we appreciate everybody
See,
here.
you see, he put the ring there. So remember, we're
Yeah,
giving away
he's
that
good.
ring.
Yeah.
So anyone watching, make sure you guys go find that comment that we have pinned to the chat there. Make sure you guys go check out that video and drop the hashtag in there because we will be using a hashtag picker. So comment picker on Wednesday. So make sure you guys go check that out so you can
Make sure you type it in
get
correctly
this
because it's
ring
been done wrong a couple times.
for
It's
sure.
not our
So make sure you
fault.
guys, make sure you guys go check it out. I'll try to correct it if I see your comment on there. But yeah, otherwise, go check it out. We're going to give this bad boy away on Wednesday. So we're excited for that. I appreciate you guys here for myself, for Frank, for Classic Mike, and for who else is here? Oh, yeah, Dustin. What's up, Dustin? I'm just messing with him. I had to talk a little shit. It was nice having him on doing that last week when we recorded the 1K subscriber show. So miss having him on here, but always thinking about you, bro. So all of us here at Get Right Man, we got some new and exciting news that we'll be dropping on Wednesday as well too. So it's going to be an all around awesome show. Have a great addition here coming to the Get Right Fantasy Network. Another analyst that'll be joining us. We're still working out all the details here, but we're excited to have them. Anything else, Frank? You got, or we ready to get out of here, man?
Good.
All right, let's do it, man. We'll see you guys on Wednesday. Same bad time, same bad channel. Peace out.
Wanted to white fantasy is the play. Marking nothing but I tune every Friday. Strategies provided.